Hello and welcome to Patrick's Models and Transport. So we're finally tackling the holes for the Christmas lights, because I'm going to illuminate the buildings using this string, one or two strings of warm glow LED Christmas lights, battery operated. Now, to be able to do this, I've had to locate the exact position of the holes under the buildings, as here. So last night I made a paper pattern, see station, I put that underneath, then marked the position of the hole, and then using my pattern I marked the actual place where I have to drill. So this is station, parked it there. Then we've got, let's just turn this round, it's easier for me to just turn the thing round. Then we've got the goods shed. The goods shed needs a double job because the goods shed has not got a hole underneath. But the hole is there. The hole will be, I have to drill a hole through the base to post my light inside. I had toyed with the idea of wiring this up independently, making all sorts of lights inside, but then I decided to make my life easy. And of course I still have to decide where to make the hole. So first I make the hole on the plastic, on the base, then I'll mark the hole on the pattern and get that drilled, but we'll do the other drilling now. You can see that I've made 1, 2, 3 and 4 small dots. That is the exact position of each building on the board. And this is a building, the goods shed will be used both in HO and OO, while of course the station won't be, it'll be changed, plus these terraced houses. But I've got the position also for the restaurant and cafe, which are currently being renovated. Now that was easy because it's a big wide building, I'm just going to drill the hole right there. The terraced houses are a bit more complicated because there's 3, and this is the position they'll be in, 1, 2 and 3, because they fit nicely one with the other. And I've already marked the 3 holes under there with my pattern. And then last but not least, we've got the signal box, which you can see, and there's I have to get the light and then post it up there to illuminate the top. And of course I've positioned my hole will be right there on a white dot. So now, and even this has got its 4 small white marker dots that you can see there to position. You can see 2 of them to position it correctly on the layout. So now I'm going to get cracking and start drilling holes. I should take things off the layout, but at the moment I don't know where to put them. I will be taking everything off the layout to do the wiring, because I'll have to stand this up and then do all the wiring. I don't know if one set of Christmas lights will do the lot, because I'm going to begin over there with a battery pack held under the board with some Velcro, and then work my way single box, 1 light there, 3 lights in the terraced houses. Then I'll try and work my way over to the restaurant, and I don't know if I'll be able to go all the way around because we've got 2 ways around, you see. Probably I'll have to use another set. And as on the Brunel layout, I'm thinking that the lights I don't use, I'll make some other holes, come through the board, and then make street lights using just normal street lights with poles, using the, how do you call it, heat shrink tube, and I'll make the light tubes, let's say, using pieces of transparent plastic sprue from model kits. I have to see if I've still got some, how many of them I've got left, because that's another thing, because these are all the sprue from the glazing on model kits. And I've not made, well, maybe I do have, I should have something, yes, from the Bedford ML. So we'll see what we can do about that. But the first thing is to position the main ones, and that's that. So let's drill the holes, and we'll have to also do the hole in the base of the goods shed. Now we just widen it a bit. Just a second. And there we go. Perfect. Not bad. Okay, right, these are the terraced houses. And the terraced houses I didn't need to modify, I didn't need to do any form of blackout because they're made of dark grey plastic, of a non-transparent plastic. There's maybe a tiny spot of light bleed there, just very small things that can easily be fixed. But look at that. That's very nice. Okay, now on the phone it looks as if that door is glowing a lot more, the red door. In reality it doesn't glow so much. So that they're nice. That's very nice. So we'll imagine also, let's see if I can post one in here at the signal box and simulate the signal box as well. Let's see how this works. The signal box lights, you're going through. I widen you. This one isn't wanting to go in. No, tell me I'm going to have to widen the signal box hole more. Yes, okay, let's encourage it in. Let's take our signal box and I'm putting a light on to see what I'm doing. Well, its signal box is going to be actually fed up. The light will be channeled up to there because I want to light the actual signal box. But it's not bad. Sort of low intensity lighting in the signal box, would you say? It's quite good. Now you wouldn't want to have you don't want to have excessively bright light inside the signal box because you want to be able to see the trains coming, your night vision. But maybe we'll post a bit higher up the one in the signal box, or try and make something to catch to feed it in better. But that's quite nice. And you can see that there's absolutely no or very little light seeping through. Maybe there's a spot of light seeping through. Why? Let's check. Above the window. What's above the window? It's just painted. I think I just painted it above the window. I didn't put any black paper. But it's not bad. It's okay. Let's see from the other side. I don't know what you can see. We'll have to anyway pull this one here a bit higher up. Let's say that we put it a bit higher like that, and we try and catch it in the exactly where I wanted it caught. See, I've caught it in that base, in the transparent granule tube lid in there. That's nice. That's really good. Wow. Cheap Christmas lights, LED, they don't heat, they work all the time. No complicated thing, no complicated wiring, no train controllers involved. Nice battery pack, and then with some Velcro, I can take the Velcro and then fit it underneath, under there, out the road, like on Brunel. Simple piece of cake. Right. Let's do something else now. I've dismantled the goods shed to drill a hole through the platform, and I used two drill bits, a wider one and a narrower one and a wider one, and then I used the wider one to widen it. I just milled it down a bit, and I will fit this granule cap, tube cap with some glue and glaze here to act as a, first of all, to be able to catch the LED bulb, which will be posted through the board. Just catch it in here, like on the single box, and this will also act as a sort of lampshade and help spread the light inside the goods shed. Mentioning the goods shed, and then I've already marked the hole on the pattern here, and now I'm going to mark my hole on the layout, drill it, and that's that. Mentioning this goods shed, this is a great Jouef building, which I definitely recommend, because Jouef used the same roof, the same identical roof, either for the goods shed or for a goods canopy. You can see that these 1, 2, 3 sockets are for the columns of the canopy, of course with a different platform, because this platform here has got the slots for the doors, so the doors open and close, they run in here, and it's all held together with 4 nice brass screws which catch in these 4 brass nuts which are set into the moulding. So great piece of kit. I weathered it lightly using a watercolor pencil, a black watercolor pencil, to give it a bit more of a less plasticky effect. Probably I could weather the roof a little to give it a more matte finish. Glistening like this, the roof tiles look as if it's been raining, but we'll see. That's something we can do at the very end. These are just details. I really like it with the skylight. So the same identical roof is used also for the goods canopy. Okay, right, I'm going to make my hole on the board. Nice piece of kit, very cheap. I suggest it. So here we are, goods shed platform here. I don't even need the pattern because I can do it directly using the platform as a pattern, because I just need to position the platform here within the 4 white marker dots to see that it's in the right position. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, it's in the right place, and then I'll get my, that's correct, millimeter more or less, it doesn't really matter. Then I'll get my pencil, I'll just go in there and mark the position for the hole. There we go. So that's where I'm going to make my hole, right here. Okay, so that's our hole. So now I'll get the drill and I'll drill through there, make my nice hole, and Bob's your uncle. And that'll be that's the last hole I'll have to drill through here. Apart from what I might use some of the extra lights to make some street lights, but so there'll still be some drilling. Mentioning the street lights, I've been thinking I don't even need to get any light bars. I was wondering what to use as light bars, because I can easily just pull the street light up, pull more cable, put a piece of wire through there, or even a toothpick, to make the lamp post. Okay, it might be a bit thick, the lamp post, it might be out of scale, but we'll see what to do, unless I add a wee building, or maybe a bollard, an illuminated bollard, something that could be part of the street furniture. But the main thing is to get the main lights on the layout. And even if we had the odd extra light underneath, then we might want to add something else. There might be, for example, a slight variation between the HO guys of Chapelon-Crosti and the double O. We have to get a name. We also have to get a name for the double O. I've not decided. Something more British. We could find another engineer. Let me know if you've got any ideas. I'll see if I get something Scottish sounding as well. In fact, you know I'm Scottish, because look at the state of the pencil. I keep going until the pencil doesn't exist. Okay, we make jokes about this, but behind each joke there is a fragment of truth. Cheerio, and see you next time. Well, see you next time. See you in the next clip. I've not finished yet. So this is the underneath of the Chapelon-Crosti 90 by 100 centimeters layout. There you can see the battery box and switch, which is held under the board by means of Velcro. The first two bulbs, which are the first two LEDs, signal box. This one here, I couldn't use it anywhere, so I just abandoned it underneath. The three terraced houses. Then there was another one which I decided to turn into a street light. I could have abandoned this one, but I decided to pop it out and make an advertisement kiosk, you'll see. And then I've moved over to the cafe and shops, which will have to be slid a little bit further right. And I'll see if I'm lighting up the cafe enough, the furthest away house, the shop. If not, I will begin the lights, because now I'm going to fit the second circuit, which will be over here, because this is a station. We've got the station here, and we've got the goods yard, which is there. So that's goods yard there. So it would be logic to begin at the station and branch my way out. There's less demand for lights. We could actually make more street lights in this case here. We'll have to see now what to do regarding the station, because we've got to put a last light here in the row of shops, and we actually have to do the goods shed, which is down there, and the station, which is here. We'll see what to do, because I could. It's not really, I don't want to have the battery box over here, because of course here then there will be a protection over, these are the cables, this is the siding, there'll be a protection here, there's a protection over there as well, those are the other wires. Here you can see the non-slip material which is glued under here to fit it on top of the trolley. And I'll have to think carefully how to make this second circuit, not to waste bulbs, and to try and exploit them to the best advantage. So in this case here I've only abandoned one under the board, which is that one here. Let's see what we can do. This is the top of the layout now. I've switched the lights on. You can see that my switch battery box is under here with a switch, and let's have a look here at what's been going on. So these are the terrace houses with the lights. I had another light here. I'm actually going to turn this into a street light. I'm going to use the cap of this granule tube. This is something I use as a preventive against the flu. Does the job. I'm actually going to fit that on top of there with some glue and glaze and a little cap on top. Of course, there will be the cap of a drawing pin cap on top of that. This is heat shrink tube for contacts. I'll use the soldering iron to make this here, to shrink it, not the cigarette lighter, of course. So that will be very nice. I think that's a very good. And I'm going to make other such street lights. These are improved compared to the ones on the Brunel layout. In this case here it's too short, so here I'm making an advertisement kiosk, which is made using one of these. These are tubes. I always keep these. I use these for arnica for my rigidity problems. Granules, very, very good for. It helps me not have to take chemical myorelaxants for my not very flexible legs. But this is not a video about how I treat my various problems. But I always keep the plastic. I have loads of these things here. In fact, you've seen me use these transparent caps for all sorts of other things. There's one in there, there's one in the goods shed, etc., etc. Anyway, very useful. Sometimes I actually throw them away, but so here on top, I'll have to make I'll fit this to I had to drill the hole from underneath so it got chipped. But I'll make a small piece of pavement, and I'll glue this here onto a piece of pavement so that I can just sit it here. It'll also be more stable, and I'll have to make, and I'll print some adverts to put out here so that the translucent, there'll be the illuminated adverts. I'll see what to do. I might make my own adverts. And to make a nice curved roof, I'll use a button. So we'll actually dedicate a video to this. The restaurant and the shops are in this position here, as you can see. And I've partially papered the interior with the flatter parts with some clippings of black cards, and the rest I'm painting it, and then I'll give everything 1 or 2 coats of cream colour so that it reflects the lights well. Also, we'll have to fit glazing, because no glazing was ever fitted here, but I won't put quality glazing here. I'll use some glazing from some packaging, because in the end it's just a building. I don't need to complicate myself with modelling spec glazing in this case here. And what else can I tell you? I've already fitted, I've started here, the station. So I've fitted the station light. There you go, it's under there. And now it's under there, okay. And if you notice, I've cut it quite tall. I've mounted it quite tall with a like this, with a cable tie, because I have to also calculate that this position will also be used by the British station, which will sit higher. It'll sit higher on a higher platform, because the stations, British platforms, are taller than continental platforms. So we'll calculate to be able to, for the light to be able to shine into this airfix thing here. And then what else? From here I have to work my way over to the goods shed, and probably I'll see if I can make a couple of street lights. I was thinking to make a, excuse me, let's park this here and here like this. You can see that on one of the bulbs is not working. One of them is not working. Okay, one of the LEDs is no use. So we've got 9 out of 10. And here's the cable ties, shove them out the road. And I'm thinking to actually make like a rectangular, some piece of pavement here, and have 2 street lights come out of there. That'll be like the bus terminus in the centre of the village, where 2 buses can stop on one side, and that'll actually be like a sort of, there has to be space for the lorries to manoeuvre here outside the goods shed. The diesel tank for the rail cars and diesel locomotives will be here in this space, so we'll have a fence going over to here. Also, because these houses have been moved further over a bit to be able to be compatible with the position of the bulbs. You see a second bulb was added there. This one here is over here at an angle so that it lights up both of them, both houses. And I think we're getting closer to then. Then after we'll have to just put some fences and some bushes and things and some hedges. Right, so we'll do some more work on this afterwards. Okay, so here's all the wiring underneath the Chapelon-Crosti board. We can see the 2 separate Christmas light circuits. The wires are held in place by very simple system, drawing pins and strips of cardboard from an Amazon envelope. It's very easy. If there are any problems, for example, this LED doesn't work, if anything fuses, I can easily take everything out, replace, and I don't have to bother. I've not got anything glued. I don't use hot glue and things like that, because that is permanent, and then getting it out, you'll have to demolish a board more or less. So this is, I've already used this system here on the Brunel layout 2 years ago when I made it, or 3 nearly. Was it maybe 3 years ago? Yes. There are photographs of that. You can see that the battery boxes are held in place by Velcro, like that. And now I'm going to protect these cables. This is the siding power track. There's the insulated insulated siding over there, and there's the two switches that control the siding, the main siding, the half moon siding. I'm going to use this stuff here, sections of this, which is also self-adhesive, very good quality. A friend of mine who's an electrician gave me this. I had some stuff, some clips, some various lengths down in the cellar, but this is good because I don't even need to bother drilling, screwing it in and things like that, so it'll just go adhesive. I've already taken some measurements, you can see down there, for the route that the wires have to take. There will be an angle, a corner there, and I'm just going to cut this with my hacksaw after taking the measurements. So we'll go and do that right now. I'm like Lieutenant Columbo. The bulbs you see under here, the LEDs you see under here, are just the ones I didn't need. So I just posted them. I just keep them under here. It's interesting because when you're working, you're running the layout in the dark, you have some floor lighting, like in a cinema. So you can see that on this circuit here, I used 9 bulbs out of 10, because there are 10 bulbs on this. I could have even got only one with more bulbs on, but I didn't really know. I've got a spare set if required. I didn't really know whether to get one with more bulbs. I didn't know how many bulbs would, so better have 2 separate circuits. And over here instead, I used, there's 10 of them, and 1, 2, 3, 4. So I used 6. Let's say I used 6 out of 9 because the 10th one at the far end here isn't working. So I used less bulbs in this case here. Here we're lighting the station, 2 street lights in front of the station, and the goods yard. So there are 2 bulbs in the station. Righto, let's go and do the next job. Okay, so I'm cutting my cable channel using the frame for cutting picture frames. My very old saw, there it is, and I've already measured them all out. So I can't film this, but it's not really very exciting. It was just to show you another step in the and I'm being attacked by mosquitoes. Right, there's the wiring finished at last. So let's have a look in detail. This was easy, 33 centimeter long piece of wire channel, self-adhesive, lovely stuff. Then we have this short bit under here. You can see that it just comes over a corner. I didn't bother cutting 45-degree corners. I mean, this is not stuff that's really visible, and we have low voltage cables. Generally, if I'd been doing such a job in the visible, something visible and something with 220 cables, I would have been cutting them at 45 degrees, doing proper joins and all sorts of stuff. But like this, it's perfectly okay. So that's the power track connection, and up here we've got the main siding connection with the 2 switches. And you can see that when I measured the cables, everything was random. Sort of, I was generous with the length of the cable, so the cables are not really all the right length. Some longer bits, shorter bits, but they're generally pretty long. Better be abundant in these situations. So I followed this pattern here like that, and then to bring this one up here, I just brought it over, joined it up, and came out of the same one. I actually thought I might have crossed over in diagonal, so I cut a wee hole here, but no, it wasn't required. So this is fully wired. Here you can actually see this square here in the middle. This is a reinforcing square. This was a clipping and it cost me €323. This is the one that I glued it on with PVA glue, and I ballasted it down. I used various steel helmets as ballast to weigh it down overnight, lying on the floor. That was in November. So some time has passed since we began. Here you can see all the construction marks, all the markings, all the measurements, and I have to make this same identical framework here for the Brunel layout. This exact same frame to catch it on the trolley, because Brunel is dangerous. It moves around, it slides, and it hasn't fallen off the trolley yet, and I don't intend it to fall off the trolley. So Brunel is going to get a full frame like this. It's going to be much improved. Right, so now we'll have a look, we'll get it back and have a look at it with all the lights. So here's the lighting on the layout finished at last. I'm speaking quietly because it's late. So the best moment to show the lights is when it's dark. The street lights have to be finished off, of course, with lampshade, with shades, even here. There's the advertising column. There are still some details that have to be finished, but I wanted to finish this edited video, and then we'll see the details in some dedicated videos. That's one of the lampshades on the lamp, so this is what it will look like. Not so bright. Of course, this has to be finished. So I hope you enjoyed this rather long video on the lighting, and let me know what you think. I'm very curious to read your comments as usual, and of course, if you enjoyed the video, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and share the video. Cheerio, and see you next time.